Okay.
Good evening, everyone. We will begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for the permission and protection granted us while participating today in God's divine plan of constructing a paradise on this earth. Let us pray together the Amatsu-Norito Prayer of Heaven, followed by the Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Taka amahara ni kamsumarimasu. Kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite. Somemi oya kamu izanagi no mikoto. Tsukushi no himuka no tachi hana no. Odo no awagi hara ni misogi harai tamo utoki ni narimaseru. Araido no o kami tachi moro moro no magagoto tsumi kegare o arai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomoni Amen no fuchi koma no mimi furi tatete kikoshin meseto kashiko mimu maosu. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae sakihae tamae. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae sakihae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami, mamori tamae sakihae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami, mamori tamae sakihae tamae. Kam nagara tamachi haemase. Kam nagara tamachi haemase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truths given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive group Johrei. May God and Meishu-sama bless you. We will now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teachings. Humanity's mission. God gave us life, precious life. Let us respect and treasure it by living in harmony with God's divine law. Every soul is an individual part of God's total self. Let us cleanse our souls and restore them to their divine state. One who is aware of how precious and priceless life is realizes God's divine nature within, our true spiritual essence. A human being, often called a child of God, is also referred to as God's temple. This is because a person's soul, the center of his or her being, is an individualized part of God that has come to earth with a mission assigned by God. This soul is also referred to as the primary spirit. After birth, another spirit, which is animalistic in nature, enters the body. It is called the secondary spirit. Since the primary spirit is divine in nature, it is the center of spiritual consciousness. The secondary spirit is the exact opposite, the source of all negative ideas. There is yet another spirit in contact with an individual. It is the guardian spirit. In Japan, it is selected from among the individual's ancestors at birth. From the spiritual realm, it protects and guides the person in its charge. The secondary spirit encourages the person to act wrongfully, while the guardian spirit tries to guide the person to do virtuous deeds. But above both of these is the primary spirit, which instructs the person to do only good and virtuous acts. Therefore, it is important to strengthen the power of one's primary spirit. This power is fundamental to the conquering of negativity. Each person should strive always to strengthen their primary spirit. The best way to achieve this is to pray to God and deepen one's faith. This is the only path to attain true happiness. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for attending this evening service where we had the opportunity to pray for our ancestors, for our family and loved ones, and today to continue our study with Meishu-sama's teachings. There's a teaching of Meishu-sama that's called Johrei and Happiness. And let's study together a little bit for about 4 minutes. Johrei and happiness. The primary purpose of Johrei is not to effect physical healing. It's not to cure illness physically. Johrei is an action that brings about spiritual fulfillment and true happiness on earth. I say this because, as many of you already know, sickness is a form of purification, and the real cause of sickness is clouds on the spiritual body, which are dispelled through that purification. So Johrei is a way by which all the negative experiences of a person can be eliminated. In this sense, poverty, conflict are also manifestations of purifications. However, the most serious of all these purifications is illness, disease, because it involves one's very life. So, therefore, when the problem of disease is solved, other miseries such as poverty and conflict, they are automatically solved too. Since the solution of these miseries is essential for the achievement of true happiness, It needs to be clearly understood that the cause of all miseries is clouds on the spiritual body, and that the simplest and surest way to dispel, to eliminate all those spiritual clouds and attain and reach true happiness is Johrei. Therefore, Johrei is not merely something to be used for the healing of physical illness. The physical body of a human being is living in the physical world. This is my physical body, living right here in this physical world. While the spiritual body, my spirit, is living in the spiritual realm, the spiritual world. So the condition of the spiritual plane in which one's spiritual being resides, that affects the material world. And this reflects on one's physical being. So, the true cause of fortune, prosperity, or misfortune, or bad luck, it lies in the location of the spiritual being in the spiritual world. If my spirit, that we call the Yukon, my twin soul, is located in a lower level of the spiritual realm, it will reflect on my life here. So the purpose is to make my spiritual being go higher, to higher levels. So the spiritual world is divided into many layers. So there are three main divisions in this spiritual realm. We have the upper level of the spiritual realm, the intermediate, and the lower level. So the exact state of the spiritual body in the spiritual world, it will reflect on the physical fortune of the individual in precise proportion. So we all should strive to raise our vibratory rates as much as possible so that our spiritual beings can be raised. The higher they go, the less negativity we experience and the more our happiness increases. So this is because it becomes less and less necessary for us to have difficult purifications. So as long as our spiritual bodies stay in the lower levels, however much wisdom we try to use, however hard we may work, it is of no use. So this is how the divine law operates. The law of the spiritual preceding the physical. There are no exceptions. It is an immutable law. Therefore, in order to attain true happiness, you must purify your spiritual body and raise its vibration so it can reach higher levels. So that's why, what do? We ask people, make others happy, be useful, do something good for someone. Channel lots of Johrei prayers, pray for someone. This is the only way to attain true happiness and fulfillment. And herein lies the great value of Johrei, the lifeline to true salvation. I'd like to thank you all very much for attending this evening service and studying together with me the teachings of Meishu-sama. I wish you all a very good evening. So this brings to a conclusion our evening service. Thank you everyone for joining us. And we wish you also a very blessed evening.